So this week, something mad happened. I tweeted something, well, I quote tweeted something that somebody had posted on Twitter, and my tweet went viral, like I'm talking 130k retweets. And I'm just thinking to myself, what do also happen? But when I show you what I quote tweeted, you will understand the points that I was making about capitalism and how money rules this world. So basically, I'm going to show you a clip somebody posted on Twitter saying about how they hate how much food is wasted. You know, it was a video of, I believe it's called Dunkin' Donuts in America. And someone basically said, they hate how much they waste food. At the end of the day, they have to throw away their food. So I quote tweeted it. I said, I hate that they waste this much food when it could be given to the homeless. And I just tweeted it, and then I checked the tweet like an hour later, and I was like, how did it get that many retweets? It did not make any sense to me, because even though I made a valid point, I still thought that was strange for my account, because I don't usually get that much engagement. But and then I checked it another couple of hours later, and I was like, okay, 2k retweets. People are quote tweeting it like mad. People are in the mentions. I was like, okay. But the problem I had with a few people who were quote tweeting me was saying about, oh, so you would give homeless people donuts. It wasn't so much about the donuts, it was about the fast food restaurant industry in general, how much they waste food when some of that food is substantial enough to be able to feed homeless people. But do you know how capitalism leads to people overproducing food that they have to then dump because of hygiene rules at the end of the day? But there are loads of people on the street starving. There are people who actually have premises that they live in, houses that they live in, and they are starving. And I'm not understanding why this is still continuing. Like, I'm literally not understanding why this is still going on in 2021. You don't think that instead of producing so much food that, you know, a lot of it is not going to be bought, you're just having to dump mass amounts of it into these bins, and then these bins are going to be taken by the bin men, and then they're going to go to landfills where they're going to rot and then contribute to global warming. And so I don't understand why they didn't just say, oh, okay, let's see if we can give some of this food to the homeless. Now, I do understand like the hygiene reasons, and because they may get sued because of in case someone would get sick. But I don't just mean donuts. Of course, you don't want to just give people sugary food, but there are restaurants that are producing food that is healthy in a way, and yet they're having to dash away mass amounts of that food as well. It is ridiculous. It's ridiculous to see that amount of food going to waste when you don't have to produce that much food in the first place. And bloody capitalism is always about money. It's always about making the rich richer and the poor poorer. It's never enough about what are you actually doing to help people who are living on the streets, people who are poor, people who don't even know when they're going to get the next meal from. It's never about them, is it? It's always about what can I do to line my pockets. And that's exactly what my point was. Yeah, it wasn't just about donuts, it was about food in general. Why is so much food being wasted? I'm not talking about an individual household's food being wasted. I'm talking about these restaurants, because they are producing far more waste than the average household. Because they're producing far more food that they know is going to have to be thrown away. And people are arguing with me saying about, oh, what they're going to do with those donuts. You know, like, some people will just be grateful for anything. That is the point. Some people will be grateful for anything. Not everybody, of course. You have your autonomy. I'm not saying that you have the right to choose what foods you want to eat. But what I'm talking about is autonomy. If you want to have the donuts, you have every right to want that donut. If you want to have a salad, you have every right to want that and eat that salad. If you want a 3-course meal, who can tell you can't have that 3-course meal just because you're homeless? So they're not allowed to have an option of what they want to eat? This is what I'm not understanding. You're there criticizing me, saying what they're gonna do with those donuts, but some of them would actually want a donut. Some of them would actually like to have a donut. Some people like sweet things, but they don't get to have them because they're homeless on the street and they can't afford to. And yet you're there criticising me when I made a perfectly valid point. You're just nitpicking at this point for absolutely no reason. And I don't understand it. Because you had no reason to be nitpicking that way, talking about what they're going to do with the homeless. And it was astounding to me, the amount of people who was underneath that post that I quote tweeted, like underneath my quote tweet, saying about their experiences in fast food restaurants and in other restaurants and Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, all the restaurants you can talk about, McDonald's, KFC, whatever, how they all have these policies that they have to count how much waste they have at the end of the day, and that they also are not allowed to take some of that food home. So think about this, right? A person working in the fast food industry, been on their feet for 14, 15 hours, and because of these count the waste rules and have to throw away whatever has not been sold at the end of the day, they're not allowed to take that food home. Yeah, they're not allowed to take that food home. They're not allowed to give that food to the homeless, because if they do that, it means they will lose their job. And we all know that these fast food restaurants pay the minimum wage. So you would think that they would at least be able to take some food home that's not being sold. But no, they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to take food home. In some incidences, some people did say that they were allowed to take food home, but I believe it's the discretion of the individual fast food restaurant and the manager. Majority of them said that they're not allowed to take food home and they're not allowed to give it to the homeless. And they also said that a lot of shelters also turn them away. Like they've tried to take some of the food to the shelters and they turn it away because of, you know, expiry dates and all this kind of stuff, which is fair enough. But I just think that something more needs to be done, because I don't understand why so much waste is being produced. And also why so many people think that's okay to do, to produce that much amount of waste, and they know it's just going to get dumped in a landfill and it contribute to global warming, because that shit has to be transported in that landfill. It can't just go magically over there. It's not done by Sabrina the Teenage Witch, you know. It's just really sad to see that there are people on the streets who need food and are not getting food. And these restaurants don't seem to give a shit. They seem to just be like throwing things away at the end of the day because it's not being sold. I mean, of course things will go stale at the end of the day. I understand that. Things go stale. But why are you producing so much in the first place when you know you're not going to be able to meet the demands of the service? Like, does that make sense to you? You're not able to meet the demands of the service, and yet you're just throwing that shit away willy-nilly. And I'm really disappointed to see it. To see this still happen in 2021. Still. Like, come on. Can't you do better? Can you honestly not do better? Because it's... Come on now. Do better, I beg, please. Like, instead of being capitalism's monkey, you can do better. Like, I really need to get this video done earlier this week. But like I said, let me give you a few days that tweet calmed down, and it's calmed down now. So now I want to, you know, explore that topic even more. I honestly do. I honestly do want to explore this topic even more, do some more research on it, because I do think it's quite sad to see. I mean, honestly, I don't know what can be done to resolve this issue. Like, what can be done to resolve this issue? Because it seems like it's not going to get any better anytime soon, because these people who were underneath my tweet were basically saying this shit's been happening for years. It's literally been happening for years, and nothing has, and from what I gather, nothing has changed. So please let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think that fast food restaurants and restaurants in general are producing far too much wastage? What do you think? What are your views on capitalism? And do you think that all this mass production and waste is contributing further to global warming? Please let me know your thoughts down below. I would really love it. Don't forget to share the video, and I'll see you in a minute for another YouTube video, okay? Bye.